Here's a challenge. I'm a senior in university going to be a math teacher. I'm also getting my Teach English as a Foreign Language certificate because I want to go to another country and teach, specifically Japan. This challenge goes to Ian to go over his experience teaching and living in another country. Because Ian did that.
Yeah. So, I'll sit because my thighs are burning. Yeah, teaching English in Japan was actually always a dream of mine as well. I wanted to do it just coming out of university. I actually wanted to do it ever since I'd gone on an exchange to Japan back when I was 16. I felt that place, it really felt like home. So I found out about the JET program as a way of going to teaching in Japan. And if you can get on the JET program, it's a great way to go to Japan. They pay very well. They cover a lot of your way, and I'm going to use a microphone to tell the rest of this story as soon as we find it.
Found it. May I turn it on? It's asking me a question. RF mute off question mark? What am I supposed to do now?
Yes, F mute off.
Talk into it? Oh, there we go. Check, check. Great.
I suppose I should be taking
Hi.
Yes. So if the JET program is probably, we refer to it as the golden ticket of getting to teach in Japan. Unfortunately, I was not able, for whatever reason, to make it into the JET program. I ended up being an alternate for a couple of years, but they said, we don't want you. So after a couple of years of that, I decided, F this noise. I'm just going to go to Japan and teach English there some way, somehow. So I did a little bit of research, and there's a number of companies that you can teach English in Japan through. I chose one called Peppy Kids Club.
Excuse me?
Peppy Kids Club.
Okay.
It's an after-school program where they take small stores and convert them into language academies. You mainly teach using games and songs and having fun with kids. But they go every day or once a week after school, and then 1 week a month they bring in the English teacher from overseas, and I got to be one of those people. So teaching kids anywhere between the ages of 2 and 14. They used to advertise that the 14-year-olds used to learn English through manga that was drawn by a very untalented person who is not from Japan.
Irrehensible TJ, I haven't heard this story. Like, I haven't heard the part where it's Peppy Kids Club. I know that he went to Japan and all that.
Mm-hmm.
How long were you there for again?
2.5 years. Oh, wow. So the first year I taught with Peppy Kids Club. We did a week of training in Nagoya, which was pretty intense. Then we'd do a test and then do a test lesson, make sure that we're all they were satisfied with our performance and our ability to deal with anywhere between 2 and 12, let's say 8-year-olds, unsupervised, who don't really understand English all that well. And you are not required as a Peppy Kids Club teacher to know Japanese to teach. In fact, you are requested to not use any Japanese in your English lesson. It's an immersion lesson. But you are left alone with all of these children as they crawl all over you. This is how I've decided that I am actually qualified to be a Jedi, because I have taught an entire week of lessons with some tiny, barely literate Yoda-like thing climbing on and riding around on the back of on my back.
You're also probably one of the tallest people I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
So.
The other thing that you need to worry about is the concho, which is for, yes, Johnny is continuously making that motion on an engineering screen, where kids will push their fingers together, get behind you when you least expect it, and do that directly at your butthole.
Yep.
What?
Oil check.
Yeah, no joke.
Yeah.
That's not a joke. That is a real thing, and it's way more painful than you think.
You really learn a spider sense about when it's going to happen.
God, I hope my little cousins never ever learn that.
Mm-hmm. So, I went to Japan,
already
did a year with Peppy Kids Club. There are methods of working your way up in the ranks of Peppy Kids Club. If you go work at head office, you can start working on designing the curriculum. You can become sort of the local manager of an area and assist the other teachers. A lot of those require a larger understanding of the Japanese language than I did. A lot of people, while they were working in Japan, like to study Japanese to, become lifers or just to know Japanese better. I used most of my time to produce a podcast while I was there and create videos and, talk about Japan and to take things in. But after a year, I figured, okay, I'm pretty much a year and a half. I'm pretty much done with Peppy Kids Club. I was working out in the northern area of Japan, Nagaoka, in Niigata Prefecture. If anyone knows anything about Japan or wants to look up the area, but I wanted a little bit more of an urban experience working in Japan as well, and I felt like I'd had enough of teaching children, so I signed up for another company called not Nova. What was it called? I can't remember anymore. But they were one of the third-party companies that send instructors to junior high and high schools to teach in a school setting, paired teaching with an actual Japanese teacher. And so, Omotor Asterix points out in the chat that Mary Cagle did a year of speaking English in Japan professionally.
And she's got some of the cutest comics about it.
Yeah, she wrote a comic about it. It's fantastic and incredibly accurate. But I went out... Interac is the name of the company. Yes, Interac. And taught just outside of Tokyo in Chiba-ken. And that was a fantastic experience as well. And after that, figured, well, there's not much room for making a career in Japan out of teaching English. I mean, you can make a fine career. It'll support your life, and you can become a lifer. But I wanted to move on, and so I came back to North America. And that was my time in Japan.
Neat.